talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. Hey.
And here we go on this Monday. It is March 14th, 2022. Real Talk Memphis is on the air. What's good, peeps? Chip here, your humble host on this started out to be a very beautiful day, and it's clouding up a little bit now, a few raindrops out there, but you know what? We're happy, we're warm, we're comfortable, we're in studio, and we are ready to go. We're going to have a great show for you this evening. We're going to talk about a variety of topics and subjects. As always, we try to get you the best guest for this hour-long extravaganza we like to call RTM, or Real Talk Memphis. Before we get too far into things, you're always asking me, how do I get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, once again, I'm glad you're asked. But one of these times it's going to be a quiz, and I'm going to actually ask you how you get a hold of this show. But in the meantime, I'm here to help. 91.7 on your FM side, WYXR. We are on the air right now. You can also catch us on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app as well this evening. And we're on this little thing we like to call Facebook Live, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to check us out, you are surely welcome to do that. I welcome you to be a part of the big broadcast as well. And we are going to be on YouTube. I'm going to upload the show to YouTube. And as we are a podcast, when they post the show tomorrow, you will be able to catch us wherever you get your podcast. You good? You clear? Everything's good. So, you know, as I'm coming in, and I'm always looking and trying to find some interesting news stories, some late-breaking items. And I actually have a late-breaking item for you, which is something we've talked about here a few weeks ago. I'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, we take this portion of the program because we want to celebrate you. If you have made that 365-day trip around the sun, we are going to celebrate you. But we can't do that unless I say, hit it, Robbie.
Happy birthday!
It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday on this Monday, the 14th day of the month. Happy birthday is going out to Michelle Kroom Johnson. I know her. She's a church member. Happy birthday, Michelle. Also, Michelle Tucker is celebrating a birthday today, as is James Spike. He's celebrating today. Linda Cole, Glenda Visick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Marcy Vaughn. I know her as well. Michelle Terrica. She's celebrating a birthday today, as is Ruby Oliver and Sonia McGuire. Happy birthday to each and every one of you. Hopefully we'll all be back here next year, same time, same station. We celebrate you all over again. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate that. So now we're going to dip into some news and notes here. Now, it is not lost on me that today is the first day of spring break for all the folks here, at least the Shelby County School District. I guess most of the municipal schools, everybody's out this week. So that means when the kids are out, parents are out, and when they're out, they're trying to get away and have a vacation. So if you're going to be doing that, I would say to you, have a wonderful vacation. Enjoy yourself wherever it is you go and whatever it is you do. Be safe out there. Be careful out there. And remember, gas is about $4 plus a gallon. So you might want to factor that into your plans, you know, as well as we move along. Daylight savings time was late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. You fall forward, spring forward, fall back. So springing forward means you lost an hour. Yeah, we all lost an hour, and I'm still trying to make up for it. I mean, I can't, you know, this it takes me a minute to figure out this whole daylight savings time, and my body has to adjust to it, and it hasn't adjusted to it yet. It's kind of a pain in the you know what, but it is what it is, and we'll move forward from there. How about that? Okay, so into the news and notes here. Big trial started today. Billy Ray Turner, the man who has been allegedly said to have been involved in the murder of Lorenzen Wright. His trial finally got started today. 2017, this man was arrested. 4 years later, the trial finally gets underway. They seated a jury late this afternoon, and he was arrested, as I said, in 2017 for his alleged role in the murder of Lorenzen Wright. One of the Shelby County DAs who's prosecuting the case said that we should expect to see and hear from Jimmy Martin. Who's Jimmy Martin? Jimmy Martin is the cousin of Wright's. What's her name? I can't. Shara Wright. Shara Wright. He's the Shara Wright's cousin, and he has a lot of information that he could contribute to this trial. And he was the one actually that told police where they could find the gun, where they dumped the gun in a lake in Mississippi. He is, as I said, Shara Wright's cousin. He's a key witness in this murder case. And by the way, he's locked up for first-degree murder as well. So he ain't going nowhere no time soon. Should be very interesting. So I asked the question, who killed the man? I still want to know. I mean, a lot of folks think Shara had something to do with it. I think she had something to do with it. But did she do it? Did this guy do it? I guess we'll find out once or another. She's serving a 30-year sentence, by the way, in Nashville. So she'll be around there for a while. Question is she going to come down here and testify against old Billy Ray? They had a thing once upon a time back in the day. So we'll find out about that, see how that goes. Did you hear about the Camel Attack last week? In Obion County? It was Thursday. He escaped from a petting zoo up there, and unfortunately, he killed 2 people. And when he got out and about up there, and once they found him, or once they saw him, and they tried to surround him with the deputy's cars, he tried to attack the cars. He tried to attack the deputy's car, and then he tried to attack the deputy, and that wasn't cool. And that's when they had to put him down. So see a camel running around your neighborhood, you might want to stay clear of that whole situation. I'm just saying, and on a serious note, it's terrible that 2 people had to lose their lives in reference to that. If you are doing some traveling and you don't feel like driving, you have these Uber, you have the Uber and you have the Lyft. Those folks pick you up, take you wherever you need to go, wherever you want to go. If you choose Lyft, just be prepared to pay a temporary fuel fee. That is to offset the very surging and high gas prices. These guys have to actually pay out of their pocket to fill their cars up, because they use their personal cars. So they're going to charge a temporary fuel fee. Lyft is, if you want to use their services. So yeah, we're all getting it. Now, one of my guests, my first guest, as a matter of fact, in a few minutes, is Rob Moore. He's the business writer, editor for the Daily Memphian. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, supply chains and empty store shelves and high gas prices and the war in Ukraine and logistics and the whole 9 yards. Maybe he can make some sense of it, because he does this on a daily basis. So we'll talk to him in just a few minutes. Jesse Smollett, the former Empire actor, was sentenced last week to 150 days in jail and 30 months of probation. Word is that the officials, the court officials, and some of the law enforcement officials are afraid that he might do something to himself. They don't think he's quite mentally stable, so they actually have him in a psych ward there. If you saw the video last week when he walked out after he got a sentence, he kept saying, he said, "I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal." He was talking to the judge as he was walking out. He said, "I'm innocent. I haven't done anything. I'm not suicidal," blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. But they have him in a psych ward. So God bless his heart. Let's see here. Former President Barack Obama, I don't know if you heard this or not, but he has COVID. It has been reported. And he said he's feeling pretty well. He has a scratchy throat. But other than that, he's feeling good. He thanks everybody for the prayers and the support and the well wishes. Now, he, like so many of us others, He got his shots and he got his boosters. And yes, he is a breakthrough case. Okay. These things have happened. But as you notice, the cases have come down just extraordinarily dramatically. And we hope things stay that way. A couple of more things I want to mention before we get into it. Conji Anthony, a friend of mine, former colleague at WMC, is leaving WMC TV. After 17 years, she has been the primary news anchor since 2015. I was actually at the station when she got there. So yeah, she's gonna leave, and she's going to do some other things with her life. That news thing is tough. That grind is, man, I'm telling you, I did that for a long time. And at a certain point in time, you just kind of want to get away and do something else. So, best of luck to Kanji. She'll still be on the air, I think through the middle of next month. So we will, be able to enjoy her for just a short while longer. I also want to say that we all need to throw some prayers behind Stephanie Love. Stephanie Love is a Memphis Shelby County School Board member. She had a stroke a few weeks ago, and she is, recovering. And that's a slow and steady process. But I think we should all keep her lifted in prayer and support her that way. A lot of folks, are sort of keeping tabs on her, and we just want to just keep her lifted and hope that she can recover and get back just to being herself. Regardless of the school board issue, it's more about her and her personal health, and she's got a family as well. So we're gonna keep her lifted in prayer. Now, the story I wanted to get to that just literally just broke a few minutes ago. You remember this whole deal with the Southern Heritage Classic and Jackson State pulling out of the Southern Heritage Classic, just all so dramatically. First it was, we're not going to be there this year at all because SWAC has made some adjustments and changes, blah, 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 blah. And then because of the backlash, which was pretty strong and pretty negative, they decided they were going to play the game this year. One more time this year. That's it. That's all. I kept saying that there was something more to all of this, and I did find out that there was something more to it, and his name is Deion Sanders, or Coach Prime, as he likes to call himself, the head coach. He decided that it was not a financial benefit to the school anymore after 30-something years. They get $350,000 for coming to play in this game. He said because of all the people that they bring and the buses and the this and the that, he says they don't have any money left over after, all the expenses are paid. So he decided it was too cheap a route to go, and that they were going to start looking for, higher payouts in being invited to some of these games. Well, this afternoon, and you don't mess with this guy, Fred Jones has filed a lawsuit against Jackson State University and the SWAC football conference for $1.8 million. And then there was another $5 million lawsuit that he's filed against them for breach of contract. I mean, the contract that they signed a couple of years ago was supposed to go to 2024. Well, it's not 2024. And you just can't just walk out of things just because you feel like it. And, Fred saying, look, we're going to lose fans. We're going to lose sponsors. He's going to have to figure out who he can get to play Tennessee State and who can bring. I mean, it's a much bigger deal than just, we're going to pull out because you're not paying us enough money. So now a formal lawsuit has been filed against Jackson State and the SWAC conference. Southwestern Athletic Conference is what SWAC is. So very interesting. And that just goes to show you, don't mess with Fred. Fred's been doing this a long time, and he's got a lot invested in this as well. So that's the breaking news right before we came on the air this afternoon. So we're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we are going to talk to Rob Moore. And by the way, before I go, I want to, that's cool. I want to lay out the other guest a little bit later on in the show. We are going to talk to Dr. Carmen Walters. She is the president of Tougaloo College, and they got a $10 million gift. We'll talk about that when we come back on the other side of the break. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Be right back.
best idea. Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
WYXR's Stereo Sessions, presented by NextAir and Mempho, are your chance to explore Memphis music that you might have missed.
The monthly series continues with Sam the Shams' Hard and Heavy, the soul-tinged solo project with an all-star band of Bluff City musicians including Jim Dickinson, Charlie Freeman, Tommy McClure, and the Memphis Horns, as well as guest appearance from Southern rock legend Dwayne Allman.
Listen to the album and hear an exclusive interview with Sam himself in the Memphis Listening Lab on March 16th at 6 p.m.
This series is sponsored by Orion,
Archer Malmo,
Shangri-La Records,
Memphis Listening Lab,
Via Productions,
and is powered by a grant from Humanities Tennessee.
Visit stereosessions.wyxr.org.
Discover your next favorite artist at the Memphis Songwriter Series at the Halloran Center, hosted by Memphis songwriter Mark Edgar Stewart. On March 17th, Mark and his musical guests will take you on a journey behind their music, share personal stories, and introduce exciting new music. For more information on the Memphis Songwriter Series, visit orpheum-memphis.com.
Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
I can.
Rob?
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
No, you're muted, I guess, or something. I can't hear you.
I'm muted now. How about now?
I got you, buddy. I got you. Hey, we're in commercial break. When we come back, you and I we're gonna chat, okay?
Good. Okay, good. Awesome.
All right, thanks, man.
Sure.
Stand by.
Memphis Listening Lab proudly supports WYXR. They provide a curated collection of music and music history, a forum for music-related talks and performances, and a music education, appreciation, and experimentation space located in Crosstown Concourse. The lab is open Tuesday through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can find out more information on their Instagram page at Memphis Listening Lab or on their website at memphislisteninglab.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip Washington, your humble host, is here with you in the air chair, and we are fired up and ready to go. I wanted to say hello to some of the folks on Facebook Live who are checking us out. Rosalind Gill, good evening to you. J.W. Gibson checking us out. Antel Young and Carol Jubert as well. And if I hadn't, I don't know, I'm going up and down with this thing. If I didn't call your name, it's because I didn't see you. But if you are there, you know I appreciate you, and you know I thank you. And tell a friend about Real Talk Memphis. As we move forward, okay, many of us are dealing with, all of us are dealing with a lot of different issues pertaining to several things: logistics problems, supply chain. We're talking about the higher prices at the gas pump that we're all paying for right now. You go to the grocery store, you're seeing higher prices, on the shelves. It's some of the stuff you buy on a daily basis, and you're seeing a lot of empty shelves as well. And not to mention, there's a big war going on in the Ukraine. By the way, we're praying for the folks over there in Ukraine against Russia. So a lot of factors, a lot of things going on. So I just figured it was time to sort of have somebody in who could maybe break all this down for us. And I think I may have found him. He is Rob Moore, and Rob is the business editor, business writer for the Daily Memphian, and he joins me now. Rob, thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, Chip. Yeah, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here. Just by the way, not the editor, but I am a business reporter. Maybe one day.
Business. Okay, that's fine. You know, we're all moving up that ladder, man.
Sure.
Business writer, absolutely that. So, okay, you know, you and I were talking a little bit offline last week about all this. There's a lot of moving parts here, and a lot of things that a lot of us as consumers have to face on a daily basis, but really don't understand. So we were talking about the supply chain issues, which may be leading to higher prices at the grocery store, empty shelves. That may be have a lot to do with goods and services. So kind of in a nutshell, with everything I just mentioned, tell me what you see as the issue and how do we get past this?
Okay, sure. You know, and I think you were right. You know, it is a complex issue for sure. It's confusing, and I think that it's all related. So if we can just kind of start with the supply chain side of things, right?
Sure.
So I think one of the bigger stories in 2021, at least for me, was the global supply chain crisis.
Mhm.
Virtually saw all markets disrupted, right? I mean, at first it was the semiconductor chips. Then it was the manufacturers trying to resume full-scale operation. That saw shortages of everything from new cars to laptops to phones. And I think we probably all remember the images during the second half of 2021 of the container ships just stranded at ports, right? Like
Yes.
the massive pileup at the
Yes.
port of Los Angeles. Sure. And like you said, you know, I think that people in the Mid-South most recently have probably seen this in the form of empty shelves or scarce goods at the supermarket, right? I think that's probably been the most recent kind
Yes.
of thing we can see locally.
Mhm.
And, you know, I don't think I have maybe the best news. You know, in my reporting, a story I did last week, and I spoke with a Memphis-based logistics company, Donovan Enterprises. And when I've spoken to other logistics operators like Donovan, you know, they're telling me to not expect this issue to go away this year. You know, this could stretch well into 2023 or beyond.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, they're, I guess, cautiously pessimistic in that regard. But, you know, for me, I think the takeaway here is just the underscoring of how globalized markets are, right? Regardless of whether or not you think they should be, they are, right? Like factories in Taiwan shutting down, that has real world implications on people that live here in Memphis. And I think, right, that and not just me, not other economists think that the logistics supply chain issue is one of the possible reasons why we're seeing such, you know, record-breaking inflation right now, 40-year highs.
It's it really is amazing how it just seems like it's like a snowball that's rolling down the hill, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's getting worse and worse and worse for us. We have seen gas prices now rise exponentially every single day. And now most, if not all, of the gas pumps that you see have prices for unleaded gas up above $4 a gallon. And that's here in Memphis. And a lot of places across the country, even higher than that. I have folks that live in Los Angeles, and I mean, they're paying $5 plus, you know, for a gallon of gas. So, I mean, is this also a factor in terms of the logistics? Or does or do you think that the war that we are seeing now has some complicated this matter some?
I think yes to both. I mean, you're totally correct. No doubt consumers, and not just in the Mid-South, but globally, are seeing high prices at the pump, right? So according to Auto Club or AAA, Memphis area gas prices hit a record high last Friday when they went over $4 a gallon. And I believe that on the same day, diesel hit its record too at $5 a gallon. And yeah, we've been seeing these gas prices elevate for months now. And, you know, experts are also saying that recent oil sanctions against Russia, that's not going to help, right? It's only going to see those prices surge higher. You know, I do think that, you know, economists have ongoing conversations about, you know, what exactly is leading to all these levels of inflation. And I think that I think it's just a combination of all the different factors at play. And, you know, and regardless, I mean, I know that Republicans are blaming President Biden's, and you can see it in his poll numbers, right? They're criticizing because of the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. In turn, Democrats are saying, well, you know, we passed a lot of that similar stimulus under the Trump administration. But I think regardless of kind of where you come down on that, I think that seeing the Biden "I did that" stickers at the gas pump is just going to kind of be a memory from this era. At least for me, it will.
Any way to tell, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we are speaking with Rob Moore. He is the business writer for the Daily Memphian. Based on what you've seen, based on the people that you've talked to, any indication as to just how long we may be in this particular phase economically?
Well, and now if we're kind of taking in the Ukraine crisis, before, people were saying maybe if we're thinking just about the logistics side, that might right itself sometime in the second half of 2023. I'm not sure. And again, I think as most news analysts around the world right now are trying to, the question is, what will happen in Ukraine? Like, what's the next move? And I think that will impact things too. So it's just hard to say. It's one of those things where you want to give a precise answer, but I think that since the markets and the conditions are so volatile, it's kind of hard to say.
Now, I read a story that you did last week, and you talked about FedEx, pulling some of their business, out, and a lot of major corporations seem to be doing that now in protest of what Russia is doing to Ukraine. How big a factor is it now? From the FedEx perspective, I know you and I talked about that. And you didn't think it was going to necessarily damage them too much, but I mean, is there a filter down or trickle down effect that may bother consumers or become a problem for consumers?
I mean, I certainly think it's possible. I mean, if you think about what a strong presence FedEx is in the Memphis economy and losing or suspending its operations in Russia, while that might not have been too massive, they have a pretty large footprint in Europe, and Europe imports much more oil from Russia than the U.S. does. So I mean, it could be an effect there. It's not just Memphis. International Paper, another Memphis-based company, has operations in Russia, and their offshoot Sylvamo it does too. So and there's, I can kind of talk to you about each one differently. Each business has a different footprint to some extent.
It's a very complicated world that you deal with on a daily basis, because it seems like every day there's something in particular that is different about all this, Rob. But at the end of the day, it affects us all as consumers, and I think it's tough enough on a daily basis. I mean, the local economy, folks working, folks not working, and plenty of jobs out there, but folks are quitting. People have to be able to take care of themselves, their family, their responsibilities, and things like this. And all of these global complications make it even harder. Am I not correct in that?
That's true. And there's, factors beyond what we've even touched on today, right? There's also, employers in all sectors right now are scrambling to find employees, right? So the turmoil in the labor market, that also has some impact on inflation. So it's just, it's coming from so many sources. You're right. And they're all changing seemingly on a daily basis.
Well, look, man, I got to run here, but I do have, I would like us to continue this conversation. I'm going to invite you back on the show as this thing continues to progress, because I really think that we need to get an understanding, or as best as we can, an understanding on what is going on globally and how it affects us locally. But in the meantime, man, listen, thank you so much for coming on Real Talk. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate some of the information you passed on to us. And I'm going to have you back on the show. I really am. I promise you that.
I'd love to. My pleasure. Thank you, Chip.
Take care of yourself, and we will be talking down the road. Thanks, sure. Rob.
Thank
All
you.
right. That was a good segment. And, there's a lot more questions than there are answers to this particular problem. And I'm sure Rob will be back down the road to be able to explain them all to us as we move forward. Speaking of moving forward, we are going to take our next break. And when we come back, we are going to shift gears and talk about a HBCU college facility that is near and dear to my heart. We are going to speak to the president of Tougaloo College. And I am very excited about that. They got a big financial gift. And we're going to talk all about that with Tougaloo President, Dr. Carmen Walters. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back. Dr. Walters, are you there? You can let her in. Hey, Dr. Walters, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Dr. Walters, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Listen, thanks for coming out. We're in commercial break, and when we come back, you and I are going to chat for a few minutes, okay? So stand by.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
The Brooks is open in Overton Park, home to Memphis art collection since 1916. The Memphis Brooks Museum of Art holds the largest collection of world art in the region, with more than 10,000 works spanning 5,000 years of art and cultures. Remember, every Wednesday is free and open until 8 p.m. They are a proud sponsor of WYXR. For more information about the museum and their exhibitions, visit brooksmuseum.org. You belong at the Brooks.
The University of Memphis is proud to be a founding partner of WYXR. They've recently been named an R1 institution by the Carnegie Classification of Institutions of Higher Education, putting the U of M in the top tier of research universities nationally. This milestone solidifies the university as one of 2 flagship public institutions in Tennessee. More information at memphis.edu.
The University of Memphis is proud to be a founding partner of WYXR. They have recently been named an R1 institution by the Carnegie Classification of Institutions of Higher Education, putting the U of M in the top tier of research universities nationally. This milestone solidifies the university as one of the 2 flagship public institutions in Tennessee. More information at memphis.edu. Orion believes communities work best when they work together. They have been a trusted financial partner in our community for more than 60 years and are committed to giving back in the neighborhoods they serve. You can see how they're redefining banking at orionfcu.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
It's real talk. 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 It's real talk.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday, March 14th. Chip in the air chair. Glad to be with you on this Monday evening, and very happy to have my next guest with us. She is the president of a college campus that is near and dear to my heart. As I said, I worked at Tougaloo College for 4 years, several years back, under Dr. Beverly Hogan, who preceded my next guest. And ladies and gentlemen, very happy to have with us the president of Tougaloo College. As I stated earlier, she is Dr. Carmen Walters. And Dr. Walters, first of all, thank you so much for coming on Real Talk, and congratulations on that tremendous gift.
Well, thank you so much. It's my honor to be with you tonight. And I didn't know that bit of history that you worked at Tougaloo, so I'm doubly excited.
Well, well, thank you so much. And I'm really tickled pink to have you, that you can make some time, because I know how busy college presidents are. But you received a $10 million gift from Netflix, the CEO of Netflix, and his wife, who is a producer. And first of all, again, congratulations. That is an absolutely huge award. So walk us through that. How did you find out about that? How did all of this come about?
Well, you know, partnerships and relationships is what makes giving happen, right? And so Tougaloo has had a partnership, as you well know, with Brown University for 58 years. So in 2 years, we'll be celebrating the 60th anniversary of that partnership.
Wonderful.
And what that allows is for our students to be accepted into Brown's medical school early, I guess you can call it early acceptance, in their sophomore year. here at Tougaloo if they meet the qualifications. It also allows our students to go to Brown during their internships and do some exchange programs with Brown. So, and we've done this forever. So Mr. Hastings' son graduated from Brown University.
Okay.
And he was informed about the partnership between Tougaloo and Brown and wanted more information about Tougaloo. And we had some folks who were helping me provide that information and talk to him about the investment that we would love for him to make into Tougaloo College. And all of that came together and he made the investment. So we're just grateful for him saying yes to Tougaloo and seeing Tougaloo College as a worthy investment.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about that. And well, that's just, that really is wonderful. I've noticed that there are many corporations and businesses and a lot of other places in this country that seem to be noticing the value and the quality of HBCUs, and to be able, and many of them are making large donations, to help these students. So, really, as someone who deals with that on a daily basis, that really had to come as just now you can really start to plan ahead. Now, once you get an award like this, you plan ahead. So how are the students going to benefit from this, Dr. Walter?
That's a great question. And yes, we do have the opportunity at this time to partner with many partners. And it's in part due to several things. One, the George Floyd murder. Number two, the United Negro College Fund, UNCF, with Dr. Lomax has done an excellent job of getting to a lot of large donors to say these HBCU institutions are making a big difference in the country. The way this benefits our students, these dollars can be used for nothing more than scholarships.
Wow.
We have a lot of kids, they're on Pell Grant, but the Pell Grant is 50 years old this year. And when the Pell Grant started 50 years ago, it paid for 75% of a state tuition rate for students. Today, it pays for less than 15%.
Oh.
So there are lots of students who need support.
Yeah.
And this gift will provide scholarship dollars for students who are in need of making their payments, et cetera, in order to complete their goals.
You said something a minute ago that sort of tripped me up, that sort of triggered me in this direction. This type of gift, this sizable amount of $10 million, this is something that gets people's attention. This is going to be something that a lot of places, and you mentioned it, you always having to raise funds and try to find ways and ask folks to help and contribute to the education of these young people. But do you think that something like this is going to make that a lot easier, or draw people's attention to Tougaloo College to say, hey, you know what? There's something special going on down there. Maybe we ought to
Absolutely.
That. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. We are hoping that people will take notice, that Tougaloo College is a little place right here in Mississippi. And we have data that shows 34% of the African-American doctors historically in the state of Mississippi graduated from Tougaloo.
That's right.
So we want them to understand, as Michael Lomax says in his article, that Tougaloo is punching above his weight. When you think about how small we are, and we're punching at that level in our STEM fields, but in many fields, right? When you look at Congressman Benny Thompson up there,
that's right,
handling the investigation on the January 6th insurrection, that's a Tougaloo alum. When you look at Derek Johnson, who's running the NAACP, that's a Tougaloo alum. And so we are very proud of the Tougaloo alums, and they're all over the country, as you well know, making a huge difference in the nation. So yes, take notice of what Tougaloo is doing.
Well, I've said that of all the places that I worked in my career, that was one of the places that I really held near, because when you walk on that campus, I mean, it's a liberal arts college in Jackson, Mississippi, but there's such a peace when you walk on that campus. It's a peaceful place.
Yeah.
And And I mean, I really enjoyed it. I worked in the Office of Institutional Advancement. I was the media relations director back in those days. And I'm just so very proud of the school and of you and what you all are doing down there. And I think one of the things too, and the last thing I want to touch on is students wanting to come to HBCUs. Dr. Walters, is that becoming more and more a thing, especially with our, young African-American, high schoolers making decisions about college? Are they looking more at HBCUs?
We find that the HBCU world has opened up to a new population and a new generation of leaders. Kamala Harris being elected to the vice presidency certainly opened that up. And then there's just this whole thing around finding out who you are, with people not wanting to teach critical race theory and, all of those things. You're going to learn, we say at our institution, you can come to a historically Black college, and we are historically Black. We're not exclusively Black, as you know. So we are very diverse. But no matter who you are, no matter what race you are, when you come to a college like Tougaloo, you're going to find yourself, you're going to see yourself, and then you can be yourself. And so it's important that you understand we are going to help you find out and know exactly who you are and what you were put on this earth to do. And that's to make a difference. And that's what African-American colleges provide. They provide many touches, and they provide an opportunity for students to have that eureka moment, to say, aha, this is what I've been looking for. And so this is why students are taking the opportunities to look into historically Black colleges. And we take this time to invite parents and students to come to Tougaloo and look at what we have to offer.
Find yourself, be yourself, see yourself. I love that. I absolutely love that. Dr. Carmen Walters, president of Tougaloo College, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come visit with me tonight and our audience here at Real Talk Memphis. And you're always welcome back anytime. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. And you have a good evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was really, really good. I'm just I'm over the moon about that. And congratulations to all the folks, past and present, and even future Tougalooans down there. That's a wonderful, wonderful institution. And I'm just so happy for them. And I know we're going to produce a whole lot more leaders before it's all said and done. Before I go to break, my last commercial break here, Howard Ballou is watching this tonight on Facebook Live. Now, Howard Ballou, to everybody in Jackson, Mississippi, and the person in Jackson that doesn't know Howard Ballou, he is the anchorman down there. So good to see you, man. I can't believe you decided to tune in, but I appreciate that. Kristen Davis is watching. Pam McLaughlin is watching. Marquette Kathy is watching as well. Thank you all very, very much. We're going to take our last break. And when we come back, we are going to delve into the history of civil rights in Mississippi with an award-winning investigative reporter and author. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip. We're right back.
Thank you, sir.
Jerry Mitchell.
How's it going, Chip?
Man, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Well, listen, we're in commercial break, and when we come back, you and I are going to chat, my friend, okay?
You got it.
Stand by.
Can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Discover your next favorite artist at the Memphis Songwriter Series at the Halloran Center, hosted by Memphis songwriter Mark Edgar Stewart. On March 17th, Mark and his musical guests will take you on a journey behind their music, share personal stories, and introduce exciting new music. For more information on the Memphis Songwriter Series, visit orpheum-memphis.com.
All the years have told me so. You're never gonna make it.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you along for the ride. And yeah, it's still, it's still light outside. It's getting dark now. It's almost 7 o'clock. So I guess there's a benefit to this daylight savings time, although it's messing my sleep pattern up. But that's a whole nother story. Listen, everyone knows that the civil rights era really kind of ran through Mississippi. And there were a lot of stories about a lot of famous people who are no longer with us. And there were a lot of, I'll just say, crimes committed back in the civil rights era. Well, my next guest is someone who is very sensitive to things like that. He was a longtime investigative reporter for the Clarion Ledger newspaper. Now he is an author, and he has recently written a book called Race Against Time. He is Jerry Mitchell. And Jerry, first of all, thanks for coming on the show, man. I'm really excited to have you.
It's great to be with you, Chip.
Boy, I tell you, I was reading some of the material, on this book, and that, you had a lot of, I guess, noted individuals that have read this book. Oprah Winfrey was one, had some wonderful words to say about it.
Yeah.
Also, John Grisham also thought it was a pretty good book. Who's the basketball player? I forgot, the female basketball player.
Candace Parker.
Candace Parker. That's big time.
Out of the blue, endorsed my book, on Twitter. It was very kind of her. Yeah.
So you decided that I think there were a lot of solved stories, especially during the heat of the civil rights movement, that really had no closure. And so I guess that I'm gonna let you tell it. What that was the impetus of this book, or what was it that actually made you decide to want to write this book?
Well, I wrote the book because of my experiences. I don't know if you're like me, Chip, but if somebody tells me I can't have something, I want it like a million times worse. And you like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand that. I understand that philosophy big time.
So there was something in Mississippi called the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, which was the state segregationist spy agency that the governor ran from the 1950s into the 1970s. And in 1977, the Mississippi legislature did away with it officially. And in so doing, the legislature sealed all those records. We're talking like more than 138,000 records that they sealed for 50 years. So when I found that out, my first thought was, there's something in there, man. Or I would, or they wouldn't be sealing them for 50 years.
Sure.
So I set out to get them. I developed sources who had access to some of the files, and then began to leak me the files. And what they showed was at the same time the state of Mississippi was prosecuting this guy named Byron D. LeBeckwith for the assassination of Medgar Evers in Jackson in '63. This other arm of the state, the Sovereignty Commission, was secretly assisting the defense trying to get him acquitted. Nobody knew that. So that story ran October 1st of 1989. And led to the reopening of the case. Right. And I went and interviewed the killer, Byron D. LeBeckwith. He lived in Signal Mountain, Tennessee, which is just outside of Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. And it was still a Klan hangout when I went. So anyway, I went and interviewed him. I spent about 6 hours talking to him. Some people, you talk to them, and after a little while, you feel like maybe you need to get a bath after this.
Yeah.
It's like the most racist person I ever spent serious time with. It was N-word this, N-word that. And then he started on all the other non-white races, and he was very anti-Semitic as well. Mm-hmm. And it was starting to get dark. And so I thought, it's probably a good time to go. And so he insisted on walking me out to the car. And he got me out there and says, if you write positive things about white Caucasian Christians, God will bless you. You write negative things about why Caucasian Christians, God will punish you. God does not punish you directly. Several individuals do it for him. And so his wife made me a sandwich. I think you can guess what I did with the sandwich.
I got it. Now listen, I think there were 4 in particular cases.
Yeah, 4 cases
that you
focused on in my book. Yeah.
What were those cases?
So it was this case I'm talking about, the Medgar Evers case.
Right.
A case that a lot of people don't know about. It's called Vernon Damer was killed by the Klan in Mississippi in 1966. He basically died defending his family. He was real involved in voting rights. That was in 66. The Birmingham church bombing, which I think almost everybody knows about in 63, and it killed the 4 lovely girls. And then what's sometimes called a Mississippi burning case, which is the Klan's killing of 3 young men, 3 civil rights workers, James Chaney, Andy Goodman, and Vicky Schwerner. So yeah, I worked on all 4 of those, and all 4 of those ended up being reopened and successfully re-prosecuted. Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Jerry Mitchell, and Jerry has made a career as an investigative reporter, and he has written an amazing book called Race Against Time, and he's visiting with me for a few minutes here tonight. And whenever you do something like this, Jerry, but even though you've been in the investigative world for quite some time,
sure,
I'm sure there are things that you learn. I mean, yes, the experience of being able to do something like this. Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Well, I mean, it's your curiosity helps to drive you. I think is part of it. You're curious, and the thing is, some of these cases I get into, like let's say the Mississippi burning case, you think there have been books written about it. You think everything there is to know is out there, but what you often find is there's a lot of things that aren't in those books. There's a lot of things. I eventually got the entire FBI case file, so I was able to find out a lot of things that were not in any of the books. So plus interviewing people that had never taught before and those kinds of things. So yeah, your curiosity drives you, but I think the other thing that really drives an investigative reporter is, at least for me, is just this injustice. The fact that the thing that made these cases so terrible was not just the fact that these guys got away with murder, it's that everybody knew they got away with murder. It wasn't like any kind of mystery that who killed Medgar Evers. I mean, he left the dang murder weapon at the crime scene. You know what I mean? I mean, so it's not like there's some mystery about who killed Medgar Evers. We knew who killed Medgar Evers. So
when you look around the landscape of Jackson, where you are, Mississippi as a whole, race relation wise, in my opinion, in this country is not in a good place.
No.
What's it like these days from someone who has been in Mississippi for as long as you have? What do you see?
Well, I think you're correct. I think it's kind of the story, unfortunately, of race relations in this country is we take a step or two forward. Let's say the election of Barack Obama, for example. You would think, there were even some people that said at the time, oh, we're now, America is a post-racial society, but inevitably we seem to take a couple steps back as well. So you see what's happened, obviously, with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and cases like that. And it's not like those are the thing, if you understand the history, these are not unusual events. Like, this is not like these kinds of things have never happened before.
Sure.
They're unfortunately have continued to happen.
Well, listen, before I let you go,
Sure.
I really would like people to know more about this book and where they could get your book and any kind of information you want to pass on, because these are the type of things, especially with critical race theory, being, not taught in a lot of these schools, and a lot of these
they say they don't want it taught.
They don't want it taught at all. We need to see publications like this. So talk about how we can learn more about this and get this book.
Well, my book's available literally everywhere you like online. You can get a hardback, paperback, audiobook. I did the audiobook. You can get an ebook, if you like Kindle. Any of those are available through Simon & Schuster, through Amazon, wherever you want to get them. And there are Lemuria books here in Jackson have signed copies if people are interested in signed copies. But yeah, I think it's a good starting place for people beginning to understand these things. And look, to me, it's not about, there's all this debate about critical race theory, which most people don't even know what it means.
Right.
Debate it. But here's what I think. How about we just tell the truth?
Well, that works. That works.
You know what I mean? I mean, whatever happened to this? And I'll use, since we're in the Bible Belt, I can use this as an analogy real quickly. So there are in the Bible, there are a lot of sad stories.
Yes.
A lot of tragic stories, but we still read them. And why do we read them? Because we can learn from them.
That's right.
The same thing is true of history.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, I tell you what, Jerry Mitchell, I was really looking forward to having a few minutes to chat with you.
Yeah, great to talk with you.
It has been a wonderful experience. Thank you for coming on Real Talk tonight, and thank you for wanting to tell the truth, and thank you for writing this book, Race Against Time.
And if people want to follow Act Today in civil rights history on Facebook, it's jerry.mitchell.5872. If they want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, they can do that and kind of learn more about this history that we don't, for whatever reason, want to talk about.
Absolutely. Jerry, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really
appreciate it.
All right. Well, that puts the wraps on another Real Talk Memphis. And as Jack plays us out, really enjoyed this show tonight. My thanks go out to Rob Moore, a business writer for the Daily Memphian, Dr. Carmen Walters, president of Tougaloo College, and of course you just heard Jerry Mitchell, author of the book Race Against Time. Lot to digest and all of that. There really is. So look, I really appreciate you being here tonight. I saw some faces on the Facebook Live feed that I hadn't seen before. So names rather, not faces. Wanda Albertson, I see you down there as well. Appreciate you taking this hour to hang with us. We appreciate you being supportive of the show. Like, follow, share, and subscribe to Real Talk Memphis. We really appreciate it, and I really appreciate it. So for Jack, for Nicole, and for Lola, I'm Chip, and I'm out. Have a great week.